And what if I told you that you have the power to rewrite your reality, but were taught to use that power against yourself? That your life, with all its difficulties, pains, and frustrations, is not by chance, but the result of an energy you're manipulating without realizing it. This isn't a metaphor. It's a law of the universe, a secret that the ancient sage Thoth tried to teach us millennia ago. He revealed that there is a frequency, a kind of silent sound, that organizes all matter. And whoever learns to tune into this frequency can literally manipulate the universe to change their own reality. The proof of this: Russian scientists measured this energy and saw bodies healing faster. Elite athletes broke records minutes after being exposed to it, without any physical contact. They couldn't explain how, but the results were undeniable. In this video, I'm not just going to give you the theory. I'm going to give you Thoth's exact technique. I'll show you step by step how to stop being a victim of your reality and become the conscious manipulator of your own life. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover today might be the most important thing you've ever heard. If you feel you're ready to take control, comment below. I am the creator of my reality. When your body becomes this antenna, something extraordinary happens. The frequency doesn't act like a medication you take for a headache, targeting only the visible symptom. Instead, it operates as the most advanced form of intelligence imaginable. It enters your system and performs a full diagnosis, a silent scan that goes far beyond the physical body. It travels through your emotions, your mental patterns, your cellular memories, and even the deepest corners of your spirit, searching for the true origin of imbalance. That's why the results are so surprising and often shocking. A person may seek help for chronic migraines and, during the session, be flooded with a deep sadness, releasing the pain of a loss that was never fully processed. And then, as a consequence, the migraine disappears, never to return. Another person, seeking relief for back pain, may suddenly have an insight about a self-sabotaging pattern in their career. By changing that pattern, the pain vanishes. The frequency doesn't heal the symptom. It reveals and transmutes the cause. This intelligence doesn't follow human logic. It doesn't go where you want, but where it's needed. You may ask for financial prosperity, and the frequency may act first by healing a wound of childhood abandonment, because your energetic field understands that the belief of unworthiness is the true root of your scarcity. It's a process that defies the control of the ego. You don't tell the frequency what to do. You simply allow your innate wisdom to do the work, trusting that it knows exactly which domino piece must fall first for all the others to realign. The ancient Hermetic sages understood this perfectly. One of their deepest teachings, found in the Corpus Hermeticum, dictates, "The body becomes ill when the soul is neglected." This means that every physical illness is just the tip of the iceberg, the final manifestation of an imbalance that began on a much subtler level. The frequency acts precisely at that subtle level, on the soul, on the energetic signature that sustains your physical form. It goes straight to the root of the problem, pulling out the weed instead of just cutting the leaves. Thoth, in his teachings, gives us an even deeper clue about this process. He says, "Seek the hidden fire within you, and you will discover the remedy for all pain." This hidden fire is not a poetic metaphor. It's your original energetic signature, your pure vibration before being distorted by life's traumas, fears, and conditioning. The intelligent frequency acts like a cosmic tuning fork, reminding your hidden fire of its original melody. It doesn't add anything to you. It simply removes the layers of dissonance so that your own light can shine again. Imagine your energetic field as a garden. Over the years, weeds, traumas, stones, limiting beliefs, and pests, negative emotions, have taken over, choking the flowers. Trying to treat a symptom is like painting a yellowed leaf green. The frequency, however, acts as a master gardener. It enters your garden, pulls out the weeds by the roots, removes the stones, and restores the soil's balance. The result, the flowers, which were always there, finally have space to grow and bloom on their own. That's why the experience is so unique for each person. No one receives the same thing, because no one has the same inner garden. The frequency is the same, but its action is personalized by the wisdom of your own field. It's the key that opens the door to self-healing, but it's your own energy that walks through that door and does the work. And this action, so precise and intelligent, hasn't gone unnoticed. Science, always skeptical, decided to investigate. What they measured with their equipment left everyone speechless. When the reports about this frequency became impossible to ignore, science stepped in, not with an open mind, but with the goal of debunking what seemed to be yet another New Age hoax. Russian scientists, pioneers in the study of the human energy field, decided to put the frequency to the test using cutting-edge technology called bioelectrography. This equipment can photograph the field of light emitted by a living body, the so-called aura, and translate that image into measurable data. They wanted to see, with their own eyes, if anything really changed. For the experiment, they chose a group of Olympic athletes. These individuals already operate at the peak of human performance, and any small change in their system would be easily detectable. The scientists measured each athlete's energy field before any intervention. The images showed strong energy fields but with small flaws, asymmetries, and holes resulting from the extreme stress of high-performance training. They were the visible signatures of physical and mental wear and tear, the small cracks in the system. Then the athletes were exposed to the frequency. There was no touch, no words, not even the physical presence of the practitioner in the room. The frequency was activated remotely, while the athletes remained at rest, connected to the sensors. Minutes later, the scientists performed another measurement. What they saw on the computer screens was shocking. The energy fields, previously irregular, were now visibly more cohesive, symmetrical, and intensely bright. The holes had been filled, the flaws corrected. It was as if an invisible hand had repaired and optimized the entire energetic system in minutes. The data didn't lie. The athletes' energy had increased. Their chakras' alignment was perfect, and their stress levels had plummeted. But the most impressive proof came in the following days. Muscle injuries that, according to the team's doctors, would take weeks to heal showed accelerated regeneration, with athletes returning to training in record time. They didn't just feel better, their bodies were healing at a speed that conventional biology couldn't explain. It was proof that vibrational information was indeed reorganizing matter. This confirmed what Thoth had written millennia ago. There is a subtle energy in all things that shapes the visible from the invisible. Modern science, with all its technology, was only beginning to photograph this subtle energy, the invisible matrix that governs the visible world. The alchemists called it spiritus mundi, the spirit of the world, the life force that animates all creation. Now there was measurable proof that this force wasn't a myth, but an operational reality. The third Hermetic principle, the principle of vibration, states that nothing rests. Everything moves, everything vibrates. The Russian experiment demonstrated this in practice. The frequency wasn't healing the athletes in the traditional sense. It was raising the vibration of their bodies, allowing the body's own innate self-healing system to operate at its maximum capacity, free from the interferences caused by stress and energetic imbalance. Science wasn't discovering something new. It was simply confirming ancient wisdom with new tools. But what came next was even more baffling to scientific logic. During the tests, the researchers decided to vary the distance between the frequency emitter and the athletes. They expected that, like any other known form of energy, its intensity would decrease with the square of the distance. However, they observed the complete opposite. The strangest result of the experiment was that the frequency seemed to grow stronger the farther the emitter was from the receiver. This result challenged everything we knew about physics: radio waves, light, sound, heat. All the forms of energy we know lose strength as they move away from their source. But this frequency behaved differently. It was as if space, the physical distance separating two points, not only wasn't an obstacle but acted as an amplifier. Sessions held with people on the other side of the planet weren't just effective. In many cases, they were even more powerful than in-person sessions. Cartesian logic simply couldn't explain this. People receiving the frequency remotely reported unmistakable, often intense physical sensations. Some felt a deep warmth spreading through their bodies, as if they were covered by a heated blanket even while sitting in a cold room. Others experienced tremors and involuntary spasms, as though the body were releasing energetic blockages that had been stagnant for years. Many were overtaken by such a deep wave of relaxation that they instantly fell asleep, waking up hours later feeling completely renewed. This wasn't suggestion. It was a real physical activation happening in real time, thousands of miles away. The key to understanding this phenomenon lies in Thoth's own teachings. He reveals in his writings, time and space are illusions of the third dimension. The true work is done in the eternal now. What he meant is that our perception of separation, the idea that I am here and you are there, is a construction of our limited mind. On a deeper level of reality, at the quantum level, everything is interconnected. There is no here and there. There is only one unified field of consciousness. It's at this level that the frequency operates. It doesn't travel from point A to point B through space. It simply changes the information in the unified field, and that change manifests instantly at all connected points, no matter the distance. It's the principle of quantum non-locality, which Einstein called spooky action at a distance. Two particles that have once been connected remain linked forever. If you affect one, the other responds instantly, even if they're on opposite sides of the universe. The frequency uses this same principle, treating the emitter and the receiver as particles already connected in the field of the one. The fourth Hermetic principle, the principle of polarity, helps us understand this. It teaches that everything has two poles, but that at the origin, opposites are identical in nature, differing only in degree. Hot and cold are simply extremes of the same thing, temperature. In the same way, emitter and receiver are simply poles of the same connection. In the dimension where the frequency operates, there is no separation. Distance is an illusion that the frequency simply ignores because it doesn't operate in the third dimension, but in the dimension of unity, on the plane of pure consciousness. Think of it like the internet. You can send a message to someone in China and it arrives instantly. The message doesn't physically travel through space in the same way a letter does. It's encoded as information, transmitted through an invisible field, and decoded on the other side. The frequency works in a similar way, but on a cosmic scale. It uses the very fabric of the universe as its network, transmitting vibrational information that reorganizes reality instantly, anywhere. This understanding completely changes the game. It shows us that we are not limited by our physical location. We can affect and be affected by energy and information no matter where we are. Healing, transformation, and connection can happen beyond the barriers of time and space. And the most incredible thing is that this connection doesn't require effort, rituals, or even concentration. The key is something much simpler. If the connection to this frequency doesn't depend on effort, how is it activated? Here lies one of the greatest paradoxes and one of the most liberating truths. Access doesn't happen when you focus intensely, when you visualize with all your might, or when you beg the universe for help. In fact, all these actions, which come from the ego and the mind that wants to control, create resistance and block the flow. Access happens at the exact moment you let go. It's a state of pure intention followed by total surrender and unconditional allowing. Think of intention as pointing an arrow at a target. You set the direction, but you don't control the flight of the arrow. Surrender is the act of releasing the bowstring. You trust that the arrow knows how to reach the target, and allowing is the state of not interfering in the process, of not running after the arrow trying to correct it mid-flight. You simply allow the intelligence of the universe, which is infinitely greater than yours, to do the work. It's an act of conscious surrender, a disarming of the ego. That's why the frequency works so powerfully, even when the person doesn't know they're receiving it. In cases where, for example, a family member orders a session for a sick and skeptical loved one, the effects are often even more pronounced. Why? Because the person receiving has no mental resistance. They're not trying to analyze, doubt, or control the process. Their energetic field is simply open, and the frequency enters without meeting barriers, acting purely and directly. The universe doesn't respond to your words, your requests, or your desperate pleas. It responds to one thing only: your vibrational frequency. When you're in a state of fear, doubt, and need, you're vibrating at a low frequency that, by resonance, attracts more situations of fear, doubt, and need. But when you enter a state of trust, surrender, and allowing, your vibration rises. You tune in to the frequency of the solution, not the problem. The fifth Hermetic principle, the principle of rhythm, teaches that everything in the universe has a flow and a reflux, a tide that comes and goes. Trying to force a result is like trying to row against the tide. It's exhausting and ineffective. Pure intention, free from the ego's attachment to the outcome, is what aligns you with the natural flow of the universal tide. Thoth said, "He who acts in harmony with the all moves forces beyond the veil." Acting in harmony is not about doing more. It's about being more. It's aligning your internal vibration with the current of the universe and allowing it to carry you. Effortless action is the key, and surrender is the catalyst. It's a concept that challenges everything we've been taught about success and achievement. We've been programmed to believe we need to fight, struggle, and work hard to get what we want. But in the game of energy, the rules are different. Power isn't in force, but in surrender. It's not in control, but in trust. It's a state of being, not doing. It's the art of allowing life to flow through you instead of trying to push the river. This disarming simplicity, the idea that the greatest power lies in the absence of effort, needed to be tested in the most demanding and competitive environment in the world, where every millisecond and every ounce of strength counts. That's when this frequency was brought into elite sports, and the results were record-breaking. The application of the frequency in the world of high-performance sports began secretly. Coaches and athletes, desperate for any edge that could put them ahead of the competition, started experimenting with this technique. Soccer players from major European leagues, Olympic athletes, and elite fighters received the activations, often without their teammates or the media knowing. They didn't have to believe. They just needed the results, and the results came in overwhelming fashion. The reports were consistent and unanimous. Athletes who had suffered from chronic pain for years, who relied on painkillers to compete, felt instant and lasting relief after the sessions. The range of motion in their joints visibly increased, allowing them to perform movements with more fluidity and power. But the most reported effect was an extraordinary mental clarity, a state of flow, or the zone, that became easier to access during competitions, improving focus, reaction time, and decision-making under pressure. One of the most documented cases was that of a weightlifter who had been stuck at his personal record for over a year. He had tried everything: new training routines, diets, supplements, sports psychologists. Nothing worked. Frustrated, he agreed to try a session with the frequency. Minutes after a single 3-minute activation performed remotely, he went to the gym. That day, he not only broke his personal record, but exceeded it by several kilos. He described the feeling as if an invisible force were helping him lift the bar. What was happening there? The frequency wasn't adding muscles to his body. It was optimizing his nervous system and his energetic field. It was removing subconscious blockages and energetic interferences that were limiting him. Thoth taught, when the body's channels are in balance with the inner light, there are no limits to action in the outer world. The frequency was clearing and aligning those internal channels, allowing the athlete's life force, his secret fire, to flow without obstruction. The body becomes a perfect instrument when its internal energy is ordered. Think of a Formula One race car. It may have the most powerful engine in the world, but if the electrical system is faulty or the fuel isn't flowing correctly, it won't perform well. The frequency acts like a master mechanic, adjusting the electrical system, the nervous system, and ensuring the perfect flow of fuel, life energy, allowing the engine, the physical body, to operate at its maximum capacity. This approach represents a revolution in sports training. Instead of focusing only on the hardware, the physical body, it optimizes the software, the energetic field and consciousness. Athletes began to realize they could reach new levels of performance, not just by training harder, but by aligning more deeply. The seventh Hermetic principle, the principle of gender, shows that the balance of internal forces, masculine and feminine, electric and magnetic, is what unleashes true external power. The frequency was creating that internal balance, and the result was an explosion of power in the physical world. These results were undeniable and opened a new frontier for human potential. If the frequency could optimize healthy bodies to the point of breaking records, what could it do for bodies that were ill? What would happen if this energy were applied not to improve what was already good, but to correct what was deeply wrong? True power isn't in improving what already exists. It's in rewriting diagnoses that medicine considered final. And now we arrive at the heart of the mystery, the central point that unites everything we've seen so far. This is the great revelation of Thoth's technique, the secret that, once understood, forever changes the way you interact with reality. The practitioner who learns to access this frequency does not become a healer, a master, or a guru. He does not direct the energy, he does not command it with his mind, and he does not heal anyone. He becomes something much more powerful, a channel, a facilitator. He opens the floodgate, and the river of universal intelligence flows through him. The frequency is intelligent. It has its own consciousness, a wisdom beyond our understanding. When it enters a person's field, it's the person's own energetic field that takes command. It's the innate intelligence of the person's body and soul that decides what needs to be adjusted, what the priority is, and how the reorganization should happen. The practitioner is just the bridge, the facilitator who connects the person to their own source of healing. He does nothing, and it's precisely because of that that everything happens. Here lies the true art of manipulating the universe. It's not an act of force, but of surrender. It's not about imposing your will, but about aligning with the greater will. Real manipulation of reality doesn't occur when you try to force an outcome, but when you stop trying to control and simply merge with the flow of universal energy. It's the ultimate paradox. You gain all the power the moment you give up all control. You become the master the moment you become the servant. Thoth teaches this unequivocally. The wise one is the one who serves as a channel for the energy of the all, not the one who molds it according to his will. The ego wants to mold, fix, direct. It believes it knows what's best. But the soul knows that the intelligence of the universe is infinitely superior. The true work of the wise one is to step out of the way, silence the ego, and allow that higher intelligence to act without interference. This is the essence of the great alchemical work, not creating something new, but revealing the perfection that already exists, hidden beneath layers of illusion. Manipulating reality, therefore, is not about learning mental tricks or complex rituals. It's about unlocking the frequency that already exists within and around everything, and becoming one with it. It's an act of resonance, not of power. You don't force a violin string to vibrate at the right note. You tune it so it naturally resonates with the correct frequency when played. In the same way, you don't force reality to bend to your will. You tune yourself to resonate with the reality you want to experience. This is Thoth's technique in its purest form. It's the art of not doing, of being a passive channel for an active, intelligent force. The practitioner doesn't tire, doesn't burn out, because the energy doesn't come from him. He is simply an open door. And the more he empties himself of his own intentions, desires, and fears, the more the energy of the universe can flow through him. It's a process of becoming so transparent that the light of the all can pass through without distortion. And it's in this state of pure allowing that miracles happen. When the practitioner becomes a clean channel and the person's energetic field is open and receptive, the intelligence of the frequency can operate at its maximum capacity. It's at this point that magic becomes visible, that biology defies expectations, and that matter reorganizes before our eyes. And when a person's energetic field accepts this frequency, things that once seemed impossible begin to happen, and even doctors have to redo the tests. When reality defies logic, even the most rigid minds begin to bend. News about the results with athletes and reports of unexplained healing started leaking into the medical community. The initial reaction was expected: skepticism and disdain. Words like placebo effect, suggestion, and mass hysteria were whispered through hospital hallways. For a mind trained to see the body as a biological machine, the idea of an invisible frequency reorganizing matter sounded like quackery. But the evidence was stubborn and kept piling up, challenging the contempt of conventional medicine and demanding a more serious investigation. That's when a group of renowned doctors, known for their scientific rigor and absolute skepticism, agreed to attend a demonstration. Their goal was clear: to debunk the fraud once and for all. They entered the room not as participants, but as observers, with their notepads and sharp minds, ready to dissect every detail and expose the hoax. The practitioner began the frequency activation on a volunteer, while the doctors merely observed from a safe distance, maintaining their analytical and impartial stance. But then something unexpected happened. The air in the room seemed to shift. One of the doctors, a cardiologist, felt a wave of heat move across his back, even though the air conditioning was on. Another, a neurologist, felt a deep calm wash over him, his usually fast and analytical mind finally going silent. They glanced at each other, confused, trying to find a logical explanation for what they were feeling. There was no music, no incense, no external stimuli that could justify such physical and emotional sensations. The frequency was leaking, filling the space and affecting everyone. The final blow came the next morning. One of the doctors in the group, a surgeon who had suffered from chronic insomnia for over a decade and relied on medication to sleep, called his colleagues in shock. He had slept through the night, deep, uninterrupted sleep, for the first time in years. He hadn't received the frequency directly, hadn't actively participated, but just by being in the vibrational field, his nervous system had rebalanced. The personal experience demolished the wall of skepticism. Theory no longer mattered in the face of lived evidence in his own body. Unable to explain it, but equally unable to deny what they had felt and witnessed, they did the unthinkable. They asked to experience the process themselves. The hunter became the hunted. The mind that came to judge now bowed in curiosity. Hermes Trismegistus, in his timeless wisdom, had already predicted this by saying, "When the mind is disarmed, truth seeps in. Truth doesn't need your belief to be real. It doesn't need your approval to work. It simply acts, manifests, and in the face of irrefutable evidence, even the most stubborn skepticism turns into surrender." This paradigm shift began to open doors that had once seemed unthinkable. Doctors who had once ridiculed the idea now referred terminal patients or unsolvable cases to try the frequency as a last resort. They didn't know how it worked, but they could no longer deny that it worked. The frequency was moving from a marginalized alternative practice to being seen as an unexplored frontier of medicine itself, a field of limitless potential that science was only beginning to glimpse. Truth, once unleashed, cannot be contained. It spreads like wildfire, not through proselytizing, but through the strength of its own results. Direct experience became the greatest proof, turning the biggest skeptics into its greatest advocates. The frequency was proving that healing isn't just a chemical process, but also a vibrational one. And that understanding began to take its application beyond the limits of human wellness, into hospitals, but not in the way you might think. The definitive proof that the frequency wasn't just a psychological effect came when it was applied beyond humans. If it were just suggestion or placebo, its effects would be limited to minds capable of belief. But what happened next demolished that argument forever. Practitioners began applying the frequency to sick pets, often at the request of desperate owners. An old dog with severe hip dysplasia, who could barely stand to drink water, was seen running across the yard 2 days after receiving the frequency remotely, as if his years of pain had been erased. The reports multiplied, each more surprising than the last. Cats diagnosed with chronic kidney failure, a condition considered irreversible by veterinarians, had their blood work returned to normal after a few sessions, to the complete bewilderment of their doctors. Racehorses with tendon injuries that should have ended their careers recovered in record time and returned to the track. The frequency was acting on pure biology, on the energetic matrix that supports life, regardless of species, mind, or the ability to believe. Life, in its essence, was responding to harmony. The exploration went even further. What if the frequency could affect even the plant kingdom? In a simple experiment, a practitioner took 2 identical plants in the same pot. One was left as the control, while the other was watered with water that had been exposed to the frequency for a few minutes. The control plant followed its normal cycle. The other, however, exploded in vigorous growth, its leaves greener, its flowers more vibrant. In another case, an orchid that had dried up and was considered dead began to sprout and bloom weeks after its pot was placed in an environment where the frequency was regularly activated. This proved a fundamental truth. The frequency acts on everything that vibrates, on everything that has an energetic field, whether it's as complex as a human being or as simple as a plant. It is a universal force of organization and harmony. It doesn't heal in the sense of intervening. It tunes. It restores the original vibration, the perfect pattern that exists as a potential in every living being. Disease, in any form, is simply a dissonance, a note out of tune in the symphony of life. The frequency is the sound of the cosmic tuning fork that reminds every cell of its true note. Thoth, in his teachings, declared a simple and profound truth. All that lives vibrates, and that which vibrates can be harmonized. He didn't say some things or only humans. He said all. The alchemists of old understood this as the foundation of their art. They knew that the universe is one vast vibrational symphony, and that true alchemy was not about transforming metals, but about transmuting chaos into order, dissonance into harmony, at any level of existence, healing a body, blooming a plant, bringing peace to a space. Everything was part of the same great work. This understanding radically expands our worldview. It shows us that life force is one, manifesting in infinite forms, and that the same energy that can ease a person's anxiety can stop an animal's suffering and make a plant bloom. We're all connected by this invisible web of vibration. The separation between species, between man and nature, is an illusion of the mind. On the energetic level, we are all different expressions of the same source, responding to the same universal law of harmony. This universality of the frequency raises an even deeper and more intriguing question. If it can reorganize living matter, which has consciousness and an inherent energetic field, what would happen if it were applied to something considered inanimate, something supposedly without life or memory, like a simple glass of water? The answer to that question would reveal one of the greatest secrets of creation. Water is the most common and, at the same time, the most mysterious substance on our planet. Conventional science sees it as just a simple molecule, H2O. But pioneering researchers, like Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto, began to reveal an extraordinary truth. Water has memory. Its molecular structure is not fixed. It changes and reorganizes itself according to the information, energy, and vibration it's exposed to. Water acts like a liquid crystal, recording the frequencies of the environment around it. It's a mirror of consciousness. With this discovery in mind, a new experiment was conducted. A regular glass of tap water was placed under a dark field microscope, and its molecules were photographed. The image revealed a chaotic, shapeless structure, without any discernible pattern. It was the molecular reflection of the polluted environment and the dissonant information the water had absorbed along its journey. Then, the intelligent frequency was activated and directed at that same glass of water for just a few minutes. No substance was added, no physical change was made. Only vibrational information. The glass of water was then brought back to the microscope. What the scientists saw on the screen was breathtaking. The chaotic molecular structure had disappeared. In its place appeared perfect geometric patterns with stunning beauty and symmetry, similar to the purest and most beautiful snow crystals. The water had reorganized into a perfect crystalline matrix. It was no longer just H2O. It had become informed water, structured water, carrying in its essence the vibration of harmony and divine order. The frequency had reprogrammed the water at its most fundamental level. People who drank this informed water reported immediate and profound effects. A sense of mental clarity, a sudden burst of vitality, an inner calm that spread throughout the body. This happens because our bodies are made up of more than 70% water. By drinking structured water, you're not just hydrating yourself. You're actually installing new software into your system. You're introducing the frequency of harmony directly into your cells, allowing the vibration of order to spread from the inside out, using the water in your own body as a conductor. The Hermetic principle of correspondence states, as above, so below, as within, so without. Water is the perfect bridge between these worlds. The frequency, what is above, in the field of information, reorganizes the structure of water, what is below, in the field of matter. By ingesting this water, you bring that harmony into your body. And since your inner world creates your outer world, the change that starts in a molecule of water inside you reverberates through your entire reality. Water becomes an internal antenna, tuning your whole being to the frequency of perfection. This discovery has monumental implications. It suggests that we can inform and program the substance that is the basis of life on our planet. We can transform regular water into a vibrational elixir. We can use water as a vehicle to deliver the frequency of harmony to our bodies, our plants, our animals. Water stops being a passive substance and becomes an active ally in our process of transformation and healing. It's the missing link, the medium through which the subtle energy of the universe translates into tangible biological effect. But this reorganization of matter, whether in water, plants, or the human body, is not a random process. It follows a precise order, a sacred geometry, and that order manifests in the outer world through patterns and synchronicities. As matter reorganizes itself, it begins to reflect the mathematics of the universe. And that mathematics reveals itself through a numeric pattern, a secret code that starts showing up persistently for those who are on the path of awakening. As someone begins to align with this frequency, whether consciously or not, something very strange starts happening in their everyday life. A specific number pattern starts appearing everywhere, with a persistence that defies coincidence. The number 333, they look at the clock, and for no reason, it reads 333. They go to a store and the total is 3330. They're driving, and the car in front of them has 333 on the license plate. The number shows up in books, phone numbers, social media likes. At first, it seems like a curious coincidence, but the repetition becomes so frequent that it's impossible to ignore. This isn't a coincidence. It's not your mind playing tricks. It's a sign. It's the universe communicating with you in the most fundamental language there is, mathematics. In the ancient numerology taught by Thoth, numbers aren't just symbols for quantity. They're vibrational keys, each carrying a specific frequency and meaning. The number 3 is one of the most powerful. It represents the Trinity, the principle of creation present in all traditions: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, body, mind, and spirit. The 3 is the synthesis, the manifestation born from the union of two opposing forces. When the number 3 is repeated 3 times, forming 333, its power is amplified exponentially. It symbolizes perfect harmony and complete balance between the 3 planes of existence: physical, mental, and spiritual. It's the vibrational signature of unified consciousness, of reintegration with the All. Seeing the number 333 repeatedly is a clear sign from your higher self and the universe that your connection to the intelligent frequency has been initiated. It's confirmation that your energetic field is being recalibrated and that you are on the right path. Think of 333 as a notification from the universe on your phone. It's a cosmic ping saying, "I'm here. I hear you." The communication channel between us is open and stronger than ever. It's an invitation for you to pay attention, to look beyond the surface of reality and recognize the magic that's unfolding in your life. Every time you see 333, it's a reminder to pause, breathe, and recognize that you're not alone, that a higher intelligence is orchestrating events in your favor, even if you can't see the full picture yet. Many esoteric traditions refer to 333 as the code of light workers, or the number of angels. It frequently appears to people who are awakening to their life purpose, who are starting to use their gifts to help themselves and others. It's a sign of encouragement, a message that you are aligned with your highest purpose. It activates dormant cellular memories and initiates a deep reconnection process with your true essence, reminding you who you were before the world told you who you should be. The 333 code works like a vibrational portal. Seeing it is not just a passive event, it's an energetic interaction. The moment you recognize the number and feel that spark of recognition, a portal opens in your energetic field, allowing more light and information from the intelligent frequency to enter your system. It's a key that opens a lock. The more you acknowledge and express gratitude for these signs, the more they appear, creating a positive feedback loop that accelerates your awakening and transformation process. But this numeric code, as powerful as it is as a sign and confirmation, is only the tip of the iceberg. It's the doorbell ringing to let you know a very important delivery has arrived. The number 333 isn't just a sign that the channel is open. It's the key that gives you access to the most powerful tool of transmutation that Thoth left for humanity, a secret hidden in plain sight within his most sacred texts. The 333 code brought you to the door. Now, let's open it. The tool to use the frequency and reshape your reality is hidden in one of the oldest and most mysterious texts in human history, the Emerald Tablets. Attributed to Thoth himself, these tablets are not a storybook or a philosophical treatise. They are an instruction manual, a practical guide on the physics of the universe and how to operate within its laws to become the master of your own experience. And the most crucial instruction is contained in its most famous phrase. The Emerald Tablet states, "That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to perform the miracles of the One." This is not poetic language, it's a formula. What is below is your physical reality, your body, your health, your finances, your relationships. It's the world of matter, the effect. What is above is the world of energy, frequency, and consciousness. It's the invisible field of information, the cause. The phrase is a direct instruction. To change your physical reality, below, you must first change your energetic frequency, above. This is where true alchemy happens. The popular image of an alchemist is an old man trying to turn lead into gold in a lab. But that's a literal and surface-level interpretation. True alchemical transmutation was never about metals. The lead is your dense, heavy consciousness, full of fear, doubt, guilt, and limiting beliefs. It's the vibration of victimhood, scarcity, and illness. The gold is your enlightened, light, pure consciousness, vibrating in love, trust, and freedom. Alchemy is the process of transmuting the lead of your conditioned mind into the gold of your true self. And what's the tool for this transmutation? What's the catalyst that turns lead into gold? It's the intelligent frequency. It's what the alchemists called the secret fire, or Azoth. It's the universal energy with the power to dissolve dense and dissonant energetic structures and reorganize matter according to the original divine pattern, the blueprint of perfection. The frequency is the universal solvent that cleans the rust off the soul, revealing the pure gold that was always underneath. By becoming a channel for this frequency, as we've learned earlier, you become a true alchemist of your own life. You stop trying to change the outer world, stop fighting effects. Instead, you turn inward and apply the secret fire to the cause. You allow the frequency to dissolve your fears, heal your traumas, transmute your limiting beliefs. And as your internal lead is purified, your external reality, your gold, has no choice but to transform and reflect your new vibration. Now, we come to the final illusion, the most subtle and powerful obstacle keeping you from fully accessing the frequency and becoming the master of your reality. It's a belief so deeply rooted that you don't even realize you have it. The belief that you are your body, that you are your mind, that you are your story. Since birth, we're taught to identify with our name, our appearance, our thoughts and emotions. I am John. I am angry. I am an anxious person. We merge our identity with these temporary experiences, but the truth, according to all great Hermetic and wisdom teachings, is that you are none of that. The body is a vehicle, a biological suit you're temporarily using to have an experience in this plane. The mind is a tool, a biological computer designed to analyze, calculate, and ensure the vehicle's survival. Your thoughts and emotions are like weather, clouds passing through the sky of your consciousness. But you are not the vehicle, not the tool, not the weather. You are the sky. You are the silent, unmoving consciousness observing it all. The intelligent frequency doesn't primarily act on the vehicle or the tool. It acts on the driver. It acts on consciousness. When you identify with the body and mind, you limit yourself. If the body is sick, you believe I am sick. If the mind is anxious, you believe I am anxious. You become the problem. But when you take a step back and recognize yourself as the observing consciousness, everything changes. You stop being the problem and become the presence that observes the problem. And from that place of the observer, you move into the point of power. It's from this space of pure consciousness, of silent observer, that the channel for the frequency fully opens. Why? Because pure consciousness has no limitations. It has no age, no illness, no fear, no story. It is eternal, unchanging, and already intrinsically connected to the unified field of the all. By disidentifying from your limited personality and identifying with your unlimited nature as consciousness, you remove the final barrier. You become a perfectly transparent channel, free from the distortions of ego, mind, and personal story. Practice this right now. Close your eyes and notice the thoughts passing through your mind. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice the sounds around you. Now ask yourself, who is noticing all this? That presence that's aware, that silent I that is aware of the thoughts but is not the thoughts, that is your true identity. That's the driver. And it's that driver who has the power to align with the frequency and direct the energy of creation. When you operate from that place, life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a conscious participant in the game of creation. The illnesses of the body and the storms of the mind may still arise, but they no longer define you. They are just passing events happening within your field of consciousness. And you, as the observer, have the power to allow the intelligent frequency to enter and restore harmony, without identifying with the chaos. This disidentification is the final key to freedom. It's what allows you to stop fighting your reality and start creating it from a place of power and peace. It's the secret to becoming a pure and effective channel for the energy of the universe. And when this connection with your true nature as consciousness stabilizes, when you learn to live in that state of the observer, you gain access to a capability that most people believe is a myth or fairy tale: conscious manifestation. Now that you recognize yourself as the consciousness behind the machine, manifestation is no longer a mystery. It becomes a logical process. The fundamental mistake most people make when trying to apply the law of attraction is thinking manifestation is an act of pulling something from the outside in. They feel empty, needy, and try to attract money, love, or health to fill that void. But that's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. You're operating from the frequency of lack, and the law of vibration can only bring you more experiences of lack. Thoth's technique and Hermetic teachings reveal the opposite. Manifestation is not an act of attracting, it's an act of tuning in and recognizing. Everything you could ever desire, every version of reality you can imagine, already exists as a frequency, a vibrational possibility in the quantum field, in the unified field of the all. There is already a version of you that is perfectly healthy, one that is abundantly prosperous, one that lives in deep love. They're not in some distant future, they exist now, like radio stations broadcasting simultaneously. Your job isn't to create the radio station. It's simply to turn your vibrational dial to tune into the station you want to hear. You don't create the music, you align with it. And how do you turn your dial? By changing your state of being. By changing your internal frequency. You can't tune into the station of abundance if your inner dial is stuck on the frequency of lack. You first need to feel abundance within, even if your bank account says otherwise. You need to vibrate at the frequency of health, even if your body feels pain. This is where the intelligent frequency becomes your greatest ally. By becoming a channel for it, you're allowing the master tuner of the universe to calibrate your vibrational radio. The frequency clears the static of fear, doubt, and lack, allowing you to more easily tune into the higher frequencies of joy, peace, and prosperity. It helps you shift your state of being from the inside out, which is the only place true change can begin. When you align with the frequency of the reality you desire, the external reality has no choice but to reorganize to mirror your new internal state. Things don't come to you, they emerge from you. Opportunities, the right people, synchronicities, they all start showing up in your field not because you attracted them, but because you're now vibrating at the same frequency they are. And like recognizes like, you become a magnet, not by asking, but by being. We've reached the end of our journey, and here at the mountaintop, we find the simplest and deepest secret of all. The ultimate secret to manipulating the universe is, paradoxically, to stop trying to manipulate it. True mastery doesn't lie in controlling every event, in micromanaging every detail of your life. That's the ego's game, a game of struggle and exhaustion. True mastery lies in living in a constant state of allowing, trust, and alignment. It's the art of letting go of the reins and trusting the flow of the river. It's the ultimate recognition that the intelligence of the universe is infinitely greater, wiser, and more loving than your limited mind could ever be. It's knowing, in every cell of your being, that this intelligence wants the best for you, even if the path to that best sometimes feels winding and hard to understand. Living in a state of allowing means releasing the need to understand the how and the when, and simply trusting the what, the vision of your soul and the wisdom of the universe to take you there in the most perfect way. It's letting the intelligent frequency flow through you without restriction, not just during a session, but in every moment of your day. It's letting it guide your actions, inspire your thoughts, and harmonize your body. You become the universe's dance partner. You don't lead, nor are you dragged. You move in perfect sync with the music of creation, responding with grace and trust to every step, every spin, knowing the dance will always lead you to a place of beauty and expansion. True change doesn't come from struggle, but from graceful surrender. If you've made it this far, comment, "I decide my reality," because that's the essence of what we shared today. If you'd like to support the channel more directly, there's a link in the first pinned comment where you can contribute and help spread more content like this. Any support means a lot to me and to the growth of the channel, but know this: just staying with me until the end already helps immensely. You can also share this video with someone who needs this message. And don't leave just yet. I've prepared a special video waiting for you on the screen. Click on it now and let's meet there.